Hey guys, I'm back this week with my dad who is going to share his family Manicotti recipe. Welcome back, Dad.
I thought you had forgotten me.
Never.
I'm happy to be back. It's always fun.
Now, I've always heard about this recipe from my mom, who is a nice Irish girl that married into a very big Italian family.
Happy to have her.
And this is one of the recipes she used to always talk about because my grandmother used to make it a lot.
That's right. And she learned very well, and we're going to share the secrets.
Yes. Ooh, I can't wait. Okay, let's get to it.
So we're going to put about, I would say, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, which we refer to as oil of the gods in Italy. Very, very important. As a matter of fact, your grandmother used to put this on her face.
Oh my God. Are you putting it on your face? Because you look so young and youthful.
No.
I always laugh every time you're on. People want to know if you're my brother.
Oh, I'll take that any day. This is 1 clove of garlic.
Okay.
But it's a big one.
Yeah,
and
that is.
I slice it into 4 because, as you know, in our family, we didn't like to use a lot of garlic.
Yes,
because
I've heard that.
we like to kiss. And so we didn't want to put a lot of garlic. But you can put as much garlic, and I know you like garlic.
And I do. I put garlic in just about everything. But I'm laughing because you're saying not a lot of garlic, but there's like 4 big cloves in there.
This is 1 clove.
But now, are you going to take this out?
Yes.
Is that, okay. So
we just saute it, and then the flavor of the garlic remains.
Okay, so you're basically just flavoring the olive oil with the garlic, but you're going to scoop that out. Okay.
And then we'll also put the sauce in.
Yes.
And let it simmer for a while.
Right. So that's why I think it's important you do this step first, is you want to get that sauce simmering. Because I find, especially, we're going to be using just plain canned tomato puree, but with no seasoning in it. And the longer you let it simmer, the sweeter it's going to be. So if you don't want a bitter sauce,
No. And, my mother used to do the old-fashioned way. And she would cook it and let it sit all day long. Oh my God. And then all of a sudden she came up with this idea. And it's so much easier because, you don't have to start from scratch.
Wait, so she wouldn't use the canned puree? Like when she let it go all day long, she was like making it from tomatoes?
Fresh tomatoes and the Foley mill and the whole 9 yards. Oh, yeah.
That's
but then she came up as she got older with this idea, and believe me, it's just as good, I think.
Well, exactly. Well, she had 5 kids, so I probably would have used the can too.
Do we have enough time to watch it brown?
No. Probably not.
She's always honest. But we'll keep it in there and then fish it out after we put the sauce in.
Let's do it. Okay. So now we may want to just turn this down a little bit just
so
it doesn't splatter.
You want to be careful because, you don't want it to splatter.
Okay.
So I would caution, make it. And you're going to put yours?
No, yeah. Well, and that's why I think it's good to have a big pot with a high profile so that it does not splatter. There we go.
That's a good
And that
idea.
just kind of calms it down.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to put a nice generous
sprig of basil?
basil.
Okay.
And that will fish out too. But in the meantime, it's going to flavor the sauce.
There's a lot of fishing we're going to have to be doing
we're
later.
going to do some fishing, but that's okay.
Okay, that's okay, yeah.
And then you want to put a little bit of fresh pepper to taste, as you say. Mm-hmm. And then we also want to put some Italian spices. Yes. And this includes a little bit of
everything.
Oregano and a little bit of, I think, fennel too is in here.
Yeah, this is just that Italian spice blend that I always talk about because I always use it. If you can't get that, you could use dried oregano or dried basil. Would probably be pretty good, right?
Right, exactly. And, drum roll, the secret ingredient.
Worcestershire sauce.
I like to put a little in. I mean,
but that's not very Italian.
No.
I think that's probably,
what
English? I don't know.
I don't know.
All of you in the UK.
Worcestershire is English.
Worcestershire, right.
Worcestershire.
Right. But what is it? But why are you putting Worcestershire? What does it do?
Because it just gives a little depth to the sauce.
Yeah.
And I've always done that. I don't think my mother did that. But
probably not.
We're going to let this simmer.
Okay, we're going to let this simmer for, 20, 30 minutes at least. We don't have all day, but we have 20, 30 minutes. Right?
Okay.
Okay, and now we are going to get to making the crepes on this manicotti because this is actually a crepe-style manicotti.
Right, it is. It's a lighter version. I mean, certainly the Italians roll out the dough and, they then boil the noodles, etc. But my mother had a friend called Mrs. Sabatini, and she was from northern Italy, and she said, no, this is a much lighter version.
It's heavy once you get with the ricotta cheese and all that.
Exactly, and all the courses that we used to have as a kid.
Because this was the first course.
Yes, first course, then you had your fish, and then you had your meat. and then of course
Right.
delicious desserts.
I don't know how anybody sat at the table all that long. I really don't. That just sounds like so much food.
We were hardy people. I guess we worked very hard, so maybe that's
so-
what it was.
That's so much cooking.
This is real easy. It's a cup
Okay, how
of
do you do it?
flour and a cup of water.
Okay.
And I'm going to put a little salt and 4 eggs.
Okay.
So I'll start with cracking the 4 eggs.
Which, when you first told me this, I mean, that's a lot of eggs.
It
But-
is, but when you think of what goes into Italian pastas,
Right, exactly.
that's eggs too. So this gives it a different texture than your French crepes.
Right, it does,
But,
because the French crepes usually have maybe 2 eggs, but I bet this makes them very pliable. So I'm
It
interested
does,
to see.
and delicious and very light. You'll see when we get to the tasting section.
Okay, all right, so we're going to stir that
So we
up.
stir it up.
Yep.
And you know, in the recipe, and you do a beautiful job of maintaining the family recipes. And of course, I contend that she's my mother reborn. I mean, it's so wonderful being a father and seeing your children and the DNA. And she has her grandmother's DNA. She loves to cook very much like she was.
Well, it's so cute because they have this little family recipe box that I have cherished over the years, and this was one of the recipes that was in that box. And I always laughed because it's not very detailed. I always laugh at recipes back then. They were sort of like a little of this, a little of that, and there you
Well,
go.
that's the way she was.
Yeah.
But we're going to add a little bit of the water
Okay.
and then a little bit of the flour so it doesn't get, you know, too gooey.
Yeah, and you just alternate
Right.
until you're done with both.
Right. And
Okay.
you can do it by hand. You don't have to
Right.
do it in a mixer, but
Yeah, okay. Well, this is looking promising. I think for people out there who don't know, you are first generation Italian? Italian
on my
parents
father's
on both
side.
sides? Okay.
Yes, my father came to this country from Calabria,
Uh-huh.
and he was only 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
he has a wonderful expression. You can just see his eyes are just lit up with wonder and, you
Full
know,
of
this
promise,
new
yeah.
country. Yes. And he did fulfill that promise. And my mother was born here, but her family came from Sicily, Messina.
I think, you know, making recipes that your grandmother made, it brings people back to life in a way and gives them a seat at the table when you're giving, you know,
That's right. That's right.
carrying on the recipe. Okay, so this
So
is
this
looking
is done.
pretty good. Okay.
And I had an art teacher who used to say you wanted the consistency of heavy cream. When
With the
he was
paint?
yeah. If I could make that analogy, I don't know. Is that
Yeah, so is this the
Weird-
consistency of paint?
Yes, heavy cream.
Heavy cream. Okay.
Yeah, see, isn't it
Looks
lovely?
good, yeah. All right,
Okay.
let's fry them up.
Well, I have a small fry pan here.
Okay.
And this is an omelet pan. It's about 6 inches. And the reason I like it is that it doesn't give you the big crepe.
Yes.
It gives you more small roll-ups. So what I'm going to do
Yes.
is I'm going to put a little bit of butter in the pan.
Okay. I think the nonstick pan is probably
Yes, it is a good idea.
desirable, right?
And then I like to just kind of, because you don't want it too buttery.
Yep.
So I'm going to use a standard size ladle. And this is just about the right amount because what we'll do is
Oh, yeah.
take the excess and roll it around.
Okay.
Very similar to the way you do your crepes,
I
right?
know, exactly. That's what this reminds me
Yeah.
of.
And this was a great idea because, as my mom said, it's so much lighter this way.
Because
And-
before, were they actually rolling the pasta and making
Yes,
this from pasta?
yes.
And then you would have to boil that pasta and then
That
must
is
have
correct.
taken all day.
Well, in those days, those women loved being in the kitchen. And that was their, you know, they loved cooking.
That's what they did. I mean, well, there were a lot of them, so I guess many hands, right? Made light work.
And of course, your mother, being an Irish Colleen,
Yes.
she was taught by these Italian nonnas, and she mastered the art of Italian cooking. So-
Look at you go. Wow. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty good.
Now you
Bravo.
don't see, you don't want
Yeah.
it to be brown.
Yeah. Okay.
You want it to be sort of the look of pasta.
Okay. And
So-
then let it cook for a few minutes on the
Yeah.
other side?
Then just slide them right onto a standby plate,
Easy
and
peasy.
we'll keep going as
Okay.
you do your.
Yes,
side.
I'm going to do the filling over here. So this is just my sort of go-to ricotta filling because on the recipe card for this recipe, it wasn't very clear. So I'm just going to
Careful,
take
it
matters
was done
into-
by your cousin.
I'm just going to take matters into my own hands. Okay, so we've got 16 ounces of just whole milk ricotta cheese. And then we're gonna add an egg. I like to add the egg because I find that it helps the filling set a bit. So we're gonna do that. So it's very important to let these cook after we put these together because there is the raw egg in there. Okay. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper and a little bit of salt. Can I borrow your salt? What did we do with the salt?
Right here.
Oh yes, thank you.
It's a good thing I'm
A little
around.
bit. I know, it's a good thing you've got a good memory. There we go. All right, so now I'm just gonna whisk this up just like this. And then we're gonna add some cheese. I like to use this 4 blended Italian
Yes,
cheese.
it gives it a little more.
It does, a
bite,
little more flavor
taste,
to it.
yes.
And that way, I just find it more interesting, Italian cheese. If you can't find that, then I would do a cup of mozzarella for the gooiness and then a 1/4 cup, or a 1/2 cup really, of Parmesan for the flavor.
Right.
Okay, so this
And
is good.
Your fresh parsley.
Yes, I like the fresh parsley. I mean, I guess you could use basil too, right?
Yes, but I like the parsley.
Yeah. So this is ready to go. You can see why this was a recipe that maybe didn't seem as daunting if you had a lot of people because there's a lot of parts.
Yes.
Somebody could have been making the filling and someone's making the sauce and someone's
That's-
doing that. I mean, you know.
That's right, and there was always music in the background and laughter, and it was really a joyful situation.
I would have loved to have been in that mix.
Yeah.
That sounds so much
I mean,
fun.
you would have. I mean, you were born to be there.
Now I have to ask this question: did the men then pitch in after dinner and do all the dishes, or who?
Well,
was then doing all this
no.
stuff? In a word,
But
no.
your grandfather actually was excellent in cooking fish. He was a big fisherman. He
Yeah.
would, catch the fish in, the Atlantic Ocean, and lobsters.
Oh, yes.
New England lobsters. He would do a wonderful crab meat filling, and that was his specialty.
And these women would let him in the kitchen? How did
Well,
that go
yes,
down?
it was mostly at our beach house, so
Okay.
they weren't as formal then.
Okay, so now the time has come to assemble them, is that right?
Yes.
Yes, so
Of the
this is
pan.
what I have. You tell me if you think this is gonna work. But
I think that's going to be good.
okay, I like the round because it's going to allow us to put all the manicotti like that, which allows them to fit in, I think.
Okay.
We'll see.
And then we don't want to put a lot of sauce on the bottom,
Okay.
but it's good because it gives it, a little base.
Yeah, a little pool. Otherwise, they might
Yeah.
stick. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so take me through this. How are we going to roll these up?
Okay, so basically, just like a crepe, but I like to put it at the end. And I would also caution, you don't want too much
Okay.
because you,
Then they'd be too fat, and they might not
Exactly.
all fit in here.
and then do you want me to actually place them in the pan?
Yeah, go for it. Okay.
So
So
we're
let me
going
see
to
how-
put them
So you want to do seam side down, right? So we
Yes.
don't want to get
seam
the
side down.
filling. All right. See, yeah, that actually works out well. See, so they're opposing each other, and then we can hopefully fill in with the rest.
Yes.
There it is. Okay, and then we're going to put more sauce on top. Is that the
Yes.
idea? I have the cheese here.
We'll do that.
All right.
And you don't want to cover the whole Manicotti.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and then you can put a little sauce in the center. I like how you did that.
I
That's
love
nice.
lots of sauce.
Never
As
have
you
enough
know,
sauce.
never have enough. Do you want to put your cheese?
I love it. Yeah, this looks great. Okay, let's do it. So I'm just using freshly grated mozzarella cheese, but I guess you could also go back to the 4 Italian cheese blend. I just wanted it as gooey as possible, and I know that you'll get there with mozzarella. Okay, this looks fantastic.
So I would say put this in the oven at 375 Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes until the cheese is all bubbly and maybe even a little brown too.
Yum. Okay, let's do it.
Okay, let's go. Here it is.
Ooh, look at this. Delicious.
It does look good.
Good. And now you put this under the broiler just for a few minutes just to get the cheese
Yes,
melted.
I like to
Yeah.
get that little bit of brown.
Yeah. Ooh, it looks fantastic. Okay, now if I may, can I add a
Yes,
little
you
basil?
always may.
So I'm just taking some basil leaves and rolling them up almost like a little cigar to create a chiffonade, which we are going to sprinkle on the top, just to cut the richness a bit because
Yes.
it's rich.
Well, you always do a lovely job of your garnishing.
Well, you know, we eat
Always
first
amazes
with
me.
the eyes, right? There we go. Oh gosh, smell that. That is like divine.
Just like Nonna made.
Yeah, just like, oh, the aroma's fantastic. Okay, shall we dig in I can't wait to try this. This looks so good. Okay, let's do it. Will you do the honors?
Yes.
Okay, great. Oh, this looks good. Oh my gosh.
So light.
So delicious. I can definitely see why it has survived all these generations.
Thanks to you.
You guys have to try this. I hope it becomes a family favorite in your family. Now, if you would like to see more episodes with my dad, you can click the annotation here and get caught up. And you can see some of our Christmas shows that we did together. Those are some of my favorites.
Thank you.